Okay, good evening, good morning, good night, good afternoon, depending on where you're watching from. This is .Nation News. Subscribe from my YouTube channel. My topic of my analysis today is what is going on across Africa. Captain Ibrahim Traore, a young military officer in Burkina Faso, has, ignited such a spirit of revolutionary across African continent with what he is doing in Burkina Faso. With his military takeover or purge or coup in 2022, Ibrahim Traore has succeeded on changing the French colonial policy in Burkina Faso. Burkina Faso was the former Upper Volta, whose name was changed in the 90s. I think they are doing well this time around. It is too obvious that there are many things going on now, presently in Burkina Faso. A great change that has actually taken West Africa by storm. The former Upper Volta, there was a military coup once upon a time in 2022. The very military officer that led the coup was a bright young military officer by name Captain Ibrahim Traore. A wake-up call for Africans to rise up against neo-colonization. That is, after independence, another colonial formula by the West has actually sprung up across Africa. A situation whereby the French, the Portuguese, the British, the Belgians, the Dutch, actually they left in the 1960s, in the 1957, that's the early 50s, throughout the 1960s, until today. What we are seeing in Africa is same Western culture, Western politics, Western colonial policy ravaging across the entire continent of Africa. Actually, the British, the French, they left Africa while at the back door remoting the political leaders in the continent. What Nigeria is going through today, let me tell you, actually it's not the Fulani herdsmen, it's not the Boko Haram insurgents, it's not the bandits and the brigadages. I'm telling you, the problem of Nigeria today is their colonial master, Britain. Britain has actually left Nigeria in 1960, but still remain their colonial mentality of neo-colonization in the country called Nigeria. They can never ever let go. That is British man. What? Because they are in love with gold. They are in love with most of the precious stones in Nigeria, the diamond, the lithium, the californium, the uranium, are still attracting back our former colonialists who actually left the continent in the 60s. Today, what are we seeing in Nigeria are political juggernauts who have been, over the years, pipettes, stooges to the British supremacists who pretended they left in the 60s while still they are gripping power. They are gripping power, grabbing power, using all manners of greedy African politicians who have been presented, on the political stage as the leaders, while the British themselves at home in Europe are in control, using these political leaders as gamblers, using them as stooges, using them as puppets, using them as, the gamers. They come as European observers during each and every election that comes and goes in Africa, while playing game with the highest bidder, someone that could be very, very gullible and susceptible to dance to their costumes. You know what? They propel the rigging of election themselves. I mean the British, the Spaniards, the Portuguese, and the French. And after rigging the election, they will support the riggers and start playing their supremacist policy. Under British tutelage, Nigeria is not going anywhere. That's why every presidential election in Nigeria should be rigged by the Fulani oligarchs using the INEC chairman. They always do this. They give it to the person who can play his game, criminal game, political criminalities across African continents in conjunction with their British, colonial masters who used the French, the Belgian, the Spanish, the Portuguese, and the British to dupe Africans of their natural resources. Okay, look at what is going on in Burkina Faso. They brought, orchestrated the military takeover that actually happened in 2022. Burkina Faso is very, very rich in uranium, gold, and other precious stones, which is why that's France, always read the budget. I mean, annual expenditure of Burkina Faso. The budgets in the past were read in Paris. They will bring at least 10% or less than that in billion or billions of dollars back to Burkina Faso, while over 85% is used. 85% are used by the French themselves. A situation whereby every year it was discovered that France realized more than $18 billion from sales of gold, sales of uranium, platinum, diamonds, and other precious stones in Burkina Faso. They realized over $18 billion, giving out only 10. Very, very mega, minute, amount, at least percentage to the original owner, the African owners, the Burkina Babes. And all these have been unearthed, unraveled, revealed, by the present administration under Ibrahim Traore. Today, France is dancing a dance of shame because they are all beggars now. France is begging. Paris is no longer as beautiful as it is before because Burkina Faso has actually taken control of all her gold, her precious stones, diamonds, uranium, and so on and so forth. It is no longer, game as usual, as the French has been doing in the past. Actually, they have discovered that the game is up. That is why they are fighting tooth and nail. What I mean here, assassination bid after assassination bid, up to 21 times to ask the erudite, intelligent, young Burkina Faso officer, military officer Captain Ibrahim Traore, has been actually escaping assassination since 2022, up to 21 times. Who paid his gunners? Who paid assassins? Who paid coupists to actually remove this bright young military officer that is meant well for his country? The French, the British, they are among. Americans have even shifted their military base to Ivory Coast so that it was rumored they would assist France on removing Burkina Faso. But we are very happy, Africans, especially Western Africa, because of the role Putin administration has started playing in Burkina Faso, leadership or government, to make sure that the military officer Ibrahim Traore is not found, at least wanted or missing. They have shifted their military base in Côte d'Ivoire, and Côte d'Ivoire is questioning how come America has come closer to, build or establish their military base unquestioned in Côte d'Ivoire. Many speculators, many kingmakers, speculation has it that America is just there to assist France, to assist Al-Qaeda militias led by the Fulani terrorists to oust Ibrahim Traore, which is why last 2 weeks, we had these militias attacking Burkina Faso. Al-Qaeda led Fulani militias. They attacked Burkina Faso in their large number, and as God had it, the young military officer, with assistance of Russia, neutralized over 1,500 Fulani militias that invaded that country, abated by France, helped by the West, to make sure that that country is not succeeded today. We are seeing Burkina Faso that is going as fast as wild wind. Yes, God is with him. Come what may, the West will have no taproot as they had before independence, wars of independence across Africa. Julius Nyerere fought it because he was a good nationalist. The elderly statesmen, men like Leopold Senghor, he fought for Senegal. Yes, an author, Leopold Senghor. After studying in France, he helped his country to liberate them, the country, from France. And today, we've seen Leopold Senghor succeeding on liberating Senegalese in 1960. What about Amadi Hijo of Cameroon? He fought tooth and nail, against the French supremacists, colonialists, and he succeeded in 1960, early 60 and late 50. The French backed out of Cameroon. Then what are we saying about Gabon? Same thing. Gabon had their own independence, but the French is still, imposing these greedy politicians, political leaders on all their colonies. Oman Bango was there since independence. I think he recently died. And there is a little bit changes in the political leadership of Gabon. And Gabon has actually been breathing, good oxygen air. And recently it was rumored there was a military coup in Gabon. I think Gabon is uniting with their West African Francophones, French-speaking, countries' counterparts to return sanity into the political leadership of that country. And again, what are we saying about Togo? Togo is the next target of the coupists, military coupists. The junta are preparing, working hard on Togo, Benin Republic, and other French-speaking West African countries. I'm telling you, they must strike in Togo because why? Nasingbe Ayadema, his father, was there since 1960 until he died. Instead of conducting free and fair election in Togo, Nasingbe Ayadema appointed his son through a legislative election, an election that was conducted within the lawmaking body of that country, Togo. And they actually appointed Nasingbe Ayadema's son. He is now Togolese president. And I'm telling you that the military takeover is breeding. The cloud is gathering in Togo, and it must actually succeed by the grace of God. They have suffered under the hardship regime of Nasingbe Ayadema's son, who took over from his father after death snatched him. I'm telling you that they needed it in Togo, because Togo, the young man, the child, the son of Nasingbe Ayadema, the former elderly statesman that gave or fought for independence of Togo, and grabbed this kind of mentality of tight leadership, tight leadership in Togo. And he stayed and made himself the life president of Togo until death actually drew him apart from that country. Death sent him away. Today the son is there, and he has concluded the plan to conduct an election within the lawmaking body of that country. Don't you see that they have concluded Ayadema's son as a life president of Togo? It's all planned and prepared by Togolese colonial masters, the French. The French oligarchs have perfected the plan to allow the son of Nasingbe Ayadema to rule Togo forever, thereby milking away the natural resources of that country into France. Paris is eating fat in the past. It is time for Paris to look very lean and what? Thin, hungry and shabby. Because the time for Africans, the West Africans, both Sahel countries, to take what actually belongs to them. We've seen the way that Mali has gone, to topple French regime in Mali today. Bamako is witnessing a new change, a revolution that will actually change or rewrite the ugly narrative of Mali. I'm telling you that the rest of the Francophones are gathering. The cloud of purge, coup d'etat, in Senegal, in Guinea-Bissau, in Guinea-Conakry. I'm telling you, even Gambia is not left out because some of Gambia are speaking French, but I know they are English country in West Africa. I'm telling you, once upon a time, Africa countries were just under the tutelage of the neo-colonial master from Western Europe, who have actually concluded the plan to keep on milking precious stone, crude oil, all the mineral resources that belong to this dark continent called Africa. Our mother Africa is waking up. Mother Africa is waking up from her slumber. Wake up and take care of your children. We are dying in this land under British, under colonial tutelage, who have been feeding us with lies, thereby subjecting Africa countries to famine, hunger, and the economic poverty that has actually led to multi-dimensional poverty ravaging across the continent of Africa. Ouagadougou, the capital of Burkina Faso, the poorest capital city in West Africa, is waking up. Burkina Faso, the poorest country in West Africa today, is waking up. We are seeing Mali that has been down for decades after independence, waking up because the military junta has taken over that country. What are we going to propose for our dear country, Nigeria? I think if you ask me, I'm giving Nigeria a prescription that will actually destroy the handwork of the British, the French, the Portuguese, and the Spanish supremacists. They are making Nigerian oil over the years. They are taking away our gold, our bauxite, our uranium, lithium, the one that precious stone that they discovered in Sambisa forest that brought about Boko Haram insurgents taking over that land, portion of land, Sambisa forest, that is flowing with milk and honey. Too much money. I think it is the right time that Nigerians will rise up. Because of course I know that the military regime of Abacha, Babangida, and the formerly Idiabo regime are far better than what we are seeing today. Right from 2015 till date, Nigerians are subjected to hunger, multidimensional poverty, and economic excruciating hardship that has never had equal. Before, we were living like king. But today, our political leaders have actually messed this country up, propelling hunger, economic hardship, social amenities, deprivation, and other vices in Nigerian political system today. Thank you, viewers. This is .Nation News. I plead, subscribe from me, share to your contacts, share to your friends. It is the right time to say goodbye to you and good night.